Hey guys, this is going to be a real quick how to practice video for Kilimanjaro, the end of it, 81 to the end for the Friday quiz. This is mostly for first, seconds, and violas. Cellos and basses, if you find that you're having a really hard time, just send me a message and let me know, and we can either set up a way to practice or I can make one of these videos for you guys too. I noticed that my violins and violas were having a little bit of trouble with some of the spots. So I want to go over some of the things I'm noticing, and then for this last line of Kilimanjaro, really give you some practice tips because that line is probably the hardest part of the Friday quiz. I'm looking at the first violin part right now, but second violin and viola is very similar. The first four measures are a little bit different, but I feel like everybody's kind of okay with these measures. I just want to point out the rhythm that happens throughout the whole song. This hooked bow followed by eighth notes, or in the second violin and viola part, it's this hooked bow with a dotted quarter note after it. What's happening, regardless of which version of the rhythm you have, some people are hesitating after this eighth note right here, so it's kind of making your rhythm a little weird. It should sound like this. Where we have just one long note for the whole measure, or if you're a second violin or viola, that rhythm sounds like so that eighth note is real quick. But what's happening to some people is that we're pausing because we're thinking about the bowing. So it's kind of coming out more like so we have to get that pause out of there. And the way that I would do this is really just to practice it separate bows. Because it's a lot easier to feel that we have one quarter note and then all those eighth notes. Or if you're doing the other rhythm, to just have quarter, eighth, dotted quarter. That will help a little bit. You can even just practice just this one eighth note plus the rest of them separate bow. So you work on getting that little pause out of there. Then you can practice it with the slur if you want to for your first violin. So I would go down, then up, and then see if you can add the whole hooked bow in there. Same thing for the seconds and violas. Making sure that you can do the hooked and don't pause after the eighth note. That's really the only thing that I'm noticing for those first four measures. When we get to measure 85, you guys have exactly the same rhythm, just different notes here. So for first violins, the only thing to be concerned about other than rhythm is the fact that we're playing fourth finger and third finger for the entire line. So you have to really make sure you get your fourth finger in tune. We should have a big whole step between our 3 and our 4. And as we play, the tendency is either to make that 4 go a little too low or that 3 to creep up a little bit. So just make sure you can keep that whole step in there. If your hand is really tense while you're practicing, it's really hard to do. So make sure that you relax. Again, for everybody, I would practice this line separate bows so we can get the rhythm. The measure that's throwing everybody off a little bit is 87, where it just goes to straight eighth notes. So I would practice that one a couple of times. And then try to add the slur to that one first. Make sure that you have enough bow for that slur. If you're trapped here, you're going to have a hard time with it, so I'd be more towards the middle. Then you can add the bow into the whole line. Okay, then the last line is where it's really difficult. First and seconds, you guys have exactly the same notes. Viola's and not exactly an octave down, but you have different notes and you're a little lower. The hard part is really this measure 91 because of the rhythm. So in this slur, we have an eighth note, 2/16ths, and an eighth note. So definitely practice this one separate bows because then it'll make a lot more sense. It's just long, short, short, long. So that rhythm sounds like, and when we do it in the slur, it's just awkward. It feels weird. So practice it separate first, over and over again. until you can really get a good consistent rhythm there. Then you can add the slur. All down bow. Then you might want to add one more note at a time. So you can get the string crossing if you have one. You can switch the bow at the right time. You notice I'm still going nice and slow. Then you can add all the notes. Or if that's too much for you, like do the whole measure separate bows. The eighth notes in this slur should be the same length as the 2 eighth notes in here. The only fast notes are these two. Something else that'll be really super helpful is using a 4th finger. For my 1st and 2nd violins, it's real tempting to just want to play that as open E, but then you create a string crossing in the middle of a weird slur, which is hard to do. So you can avoid that by using your 4th finger. Then that whole slur is on one string, and then the next slur is on the other string. Violas, there's a good place for you guys to use 4th finger too. In this last line, first of all, I would use one right here because you don't have to cross strings at all. So starting at 89, use 4th finger. Now, 2 places to use 4th finger here. If we play open and then 3 and then open, that's 2 string crossings. But we can take out one of those by playing this first one with a 4th finger, and then the next one can be open if you wanted to. So there's no way to avoid all the string crossings in that measure, but we can at least take out one. And then this next measure, just like the 1st and 2nds, definitely use a 4th finger for this A so you don't have to string cross at all. So all that whole slur can stay on one string. So that whole measure sounds like. Practicing separate bows, very helpful for you guys. So I'm just going to play this last line real quick, and I'm going to play it, well, not real quick, I'm going to play it slow so you hear what the rhythm sounds like. Don't forget that you can also use the practice tracks, and since they're on YouTube, you can go to like that little gear setting on the video, and you can actually change the playback speed. So if playing it along with the music is too fast, then set it to 0.75 speed or even 0.5 speed. If you go slower than that, it sounds a little weird. But you can adjust the speed of the recording so you can see the music on the screen, follow along, and play with it. Here's what the last line should sound like at a slow speed. And then if I want to go like a moderate good speed for the quiz, it would sound like. Okay, don't forget that you guys this week can sign up for individual help sessions on Tuesday and Wednesday. If all those times get taken up, which I kind of don't think they will, send me a message and I will get you some extra help. Okay, don't feel afraid to ask questions. Keep practicing. Let me know if you need anything.